Welcome to Story Scaling by podcastvideos.com, where creators share the truth behind the content, the grind, and the growth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family, I am Bang of podcastvideos.com, and this is Story Scaling. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment, let me know who you want to see on the show, and we'll get them on the show. Today is a special episode. I know I've said that before, but today, I wish I had like a little Today's episode is near and dear to me. I have a good brother in the studio by the name of...
I'm introduced.
Yeah. Come on. I got a good brother in the studio by the name of...
Raymond House.
Raymond House. Welcome, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for joining me, man.
Yeah, glad to be here, for sure.
I'm jumping into your bio. So this is what I think, and this is what the streets is saying about you right now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. So what I like to do is I'm going to read it top to bottom. You tell me, like, either I sign that off, I approve, or, take this out, add this, you missed something. We're going straight like that. Cool?
Okay.
It says, today's guest is more than a guest to me. He's my guy, Raymond House. Husband, father, mentor, friend, writer, musician, director, former Arkansas Razorback. House is a man whose story blends discipline, creativity, and service in a way very few can. When he's not overseas handling global trade access compliance, House is pouring into his community. You'll find him on the air discussing sports, mentoring young leaders, or behind the scenes scoring his church's Christmas play. His life is a balance of strategy and soul, managing the complexities of global business while never letting go of artistry and storytelling that drive him. For over 16 years, he's navigated leadership roles that require sharp problem solving and people skills, but his greatest impact has always been personal. He's been a steady mentor, a trusted friend, and someone who helps see the bigger picture. For me personally, House has played a pivotal role in my own journey as a creative and storyteller, and for the community at large. He's a reminder that success is not just about titles, but about influence, integrity, and the ability to leave things better than you found them. Friends, welcome Raymond House.
That was something right there.
What'd you think about that, bro?
That was good. You got me. If I was a few shades light, I'd be blushing.
Bro, that's you.
That's dope.
When you hear, like my honor, sincerely, this is already one of my favorite episodes, like just what you mean to me, and like I said, the community. Well, when you hear that bio, when you hear everything from, first of all, husband and father, and then, you have the corporate side of what you do, and the artist and the creative side, and then the mentor side and the sports side, like every single thing that encompasses, what comes to your mind when you hear that?
It's tough to say. It was when you're positioned to kind of hear stuff about yourself. I'm not just a big like this. Okay, as soon as we get this over, I'll be good. But it feels right though, because you want to be in the places where you feel like you can add value, or you can mean something to somebody. At least for me, just hopefully through all those things, I guess that I've been a part of and involved, and hopefully I've helped out some way, add some value, done something for somebody, So that's what I am hoping, as that's it's a journey you continue to stay on. So I'm hoping that's definitely the case.
Bro, I grew up in a community like many people, you know what I'm saying, in this, where I'm from at least, where we didn't have a ton of mentors.
Sure.
And if we did have those mentors, they might not necessarily be modeling that which you should model. You know what I'm saying? Like, you with me there.
Yeah.
And shout out to the people in my life who have poured into me and helped mold me. But when I think about like a brother, like a black man that's confident, family oriented, that's what I would consider successful, not just from a monetary business standpoint, but from a personal integrity standpoint, I feel like you fit the criteria. You're one of the few people that with a conscious mind, I said like, yeah, that's a role model. You know what I mean? And so I'm curious about your story and your journey and how you got to the point where people like me and others can say like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I could look up to this person, or I can model myself after House. If I see him do it, I know that sounds crazy to you,
it does.
but that's the reality, bro. And I want to be intentional with giving you your flowers, because that's the reality. Like, that's how we see it. And so for you, I just want to go back to the beginning of all of this? Like, how did you even get to where you are now when you were, let's just say, young House, bro, when, 8, 9, 10, like, what did you think you would be doing? Who were some of those influences for you? Like, this is really your show. We diving in right now. So let's unpack all of it, bro. Like, let's go back to the top.
Yeah. So for one, I'm humbled by that, right? Mm-hmm. And it kind of resonates with me when I think about, and you talk about upbringings, me being born and raised in Little Rock, Southwest, specifically Wakefield.
Shout out to Wakefield.
I think about my upbringing. Like, I came from a 2-parent household, and I remember, like, my dad being one of the few dads that you would know. Like, we knew most of them, like the small handful that were around, especially the friends I had there around. But you think about those early influences, my dad being one of them, and which is always an interesting story too. My dad coming from a single parent household, and his advocacy of wanting something different for us, for me and my brothers, and and for our family, and that being kind of the foundation of it. So born and raised there, when I think about all the things like creativity, music, which is kind of how we connected as well too. That also started, at home too. My dad's a pastor, and so I grew up playing in church bands.
Right on.
So that became like the initial onset of me understanding what creativity is, and being able to do something different. So
we got to talk about how cutthroat the church circuit is too. Like, people don't understand. I heard Jermaine Dupri say, like, the music ain't the same because folks ain't in church no more. But that's a sidebar. I do want to talk intentionally about the sharpening of coming up in church. And, but keep going.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the beginning of it all. And even then, my dad being a big influence about that too. You think about all the other things too, stage, film, all that. My dad's a big movie buff too, as well. So like I can remember being a kid going to movie theaters way back then. Back then, we had the dollar movie back then as well too. So
I remember that. That was on the tail end of me coming out. I remember that.
So the dollar movie was cool because you could wait. You could wait for the movie to get to the dollar movie and still get the experience for cheap. So that was definitely a big portion of us growing up. But yeah, it was involved in a lot of things, sports being one of them as well too. And that's what brought me here to North Arkansas, attending University of Arkansas here.
Right on.
It's my time here in college, just as it is with most folks, is very transformative, and it's the way you grow up, right? And you meet lifelong friends. You do that, go chase dreams for a couple of years, came back to Northwest Arkansas, in a whirlwind.
What dream were you chasing? Let's go. I told you we going there, bro. What are you doing? What dream did you leave to go chase?
Football was the dream. I attended University of Arkansas on a football scholarship and played here. I was here for a course of 5 years, and spent some time with Atlanta Falcons. Got there as an undrafted free agent. Spent a good portion of my time on the practice squad there. Played in Canada for a while as well too. It was in Ottawa. And then the year I got back, still under contract in Ottawa, the same year I got married, same year my oldest was on the way. And that's when I decided that that dream had to kind of cease for everything else. No regrets on it too. It was a great time. But it was a whirlwind of a year, and that was kind of the beginning of my professional career. And for what it's worth, the creativity kind of stuck with me along the way. Right. It's always if it's in you, it never really goes away. Right. It kind of sticks with you. So. Progressing here and making this area home, is where I found other opportunities to delve into other creative avenues, and for what it's worth, in kind of safe spaces. It was kind of welcome. So that's kind of the way, and it's tough, man. I'm trying to think through all the things.
You're doing great, bro. Hey, you're doing great, bro. You're doing great.
Anthology of all of this. And so it started a professional career here, and you kind of talked about that as well too. And that's kind of the consistency, the long-standing thing. But as I flowed through involvement in other things, especially within my church here, St. James in Fayetteville, is my home church, and a lot, and that being a big key cog of my creativity and having an opportunity and a platform, if you will, to be able to engage. While in high school is when I first started and got exposed to, with love from film, first got exposed into acting, and so 2 years structured drama classes while I was in high school.
Wow.
And kind of took a whole break from it from college.
Yeah.
I was a computer information systems major, so it's hard to kind of fit that in. But coming back into being involved in my church and having an opportunity to do it again, it was pretty cool. And so that's what kind of got me, back in kind of the thespian portion of things there as well too. So
I didn't know you had that background.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What else, bro? What else we don't know, man? Put it all out. Put it on the table, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I keep good track here. So if we talk, I guess we'll talk avenues. We talk music, right?
Yeah.
Being in the church, growing up in playing in church bands. That was really honing in on that particular, and then it morphed into, while I was in college, having an interest in music production. Being in and around artists, not necessarily really doing it while I was in college, because I really didn't actually try my hand in the actual medium until I got out of college. I was in Atlanta, right? And if you in Atlanta in early 2000s, like it's
the Mecca.
It is definitely home for that, and to know that, understand it, and so it was really easy to find community and people to know and understand and try things out, and really kind of get to, okay, this is what I think I could do, and this is I think this is how it works. So that's kind of where I learned the ins and outs of music production, and then moving back to Northwest Arkansas, I took a bit of a break from it, but got back into it as the same way. Just it's just if it's something that I really feel like if it's something that you're meant to do, you don't really have to work really hard to find opportunities to be engaged and be part of it. Somehow, some way, you're gonna find like there's gonna be a need, or there's gonna be an opportunity to take advantage of it. That's kind of how it worked. And then connecting with, and it was interesting too, because around about that time, ins and outs, doing small things for artists here and there, trying to still learning, but still trying to add value where I could. And, a part of me still had these grandiose aspirational dreams of doing production for major artists and things like that. After a while, I kind of came to the realization that if I really want to do it, if that's really the goal, and it's, why would I try to go chase something that's so far and so distant? And if I could just find ways to work with people that are right here, easily accessible to me, right? How am I going to convince somebody that's from the other side of the planet to do some work with me if I can't convince the person around the corner that it might be worth doing some work with? You know what I mean?
We got an episode of Story Skilling that's out right now with my buddy Eddie Kenyon. He's on. You know him. He's an artist that's going to be performing at Bang in the Gang. And he said same thing. He said, I used to want to make it, but now I just want to make it. You know what I mean? Like, used to want to make it big. Now I just want to create. You know what I'm saying? With people that's worth creating with, which is anybody who wants to create. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that, that's dope. That's what, hearing you say that brought me to in my mind.
Yeah. And so fast forward a few years there, that's when I really started just making that the focus. It's like, how can I just work with people that are around, and then just make the motivation. I like this person. I like what they're doing. I like their sound. I like, and just removing whatever roadblock might be in the way from it happening, and just keep going. And so I think that became the really kind of the turning point for me. Interestingly enough, and whether or not, kind of deciding, we've talked about this before, trying to decide whether or not I even want to be interested, or is this a waste of time? Just a unfounded hobby, whatever it is, right? So, but really having that change in mindset and how I wanted to approach and work with people, And that's what led to what I really feel like was turning point 2015, 2016. Really, having a lot of things to do with a lot of different people around, and then just engaging with, just the local scene that's here and working with artists there. So now it's, look at this point now, we're still quite a bit going on.
Let's give you some more flowers, bro.
Still doing a lot of things. So
one thing I've always appreciated about our relationship the most, bro, is your perspective. I feel like you are so rich in perspective, and I was about to ask you the question: when did you realize that you were good at producing? But then I remember a conversation that we had early on. You was like, yeah, bro, if any of these resonate, cool. If not, then that's cool too. Like, maybe it ain't speaking to you, but that's all right. You know what I'm saying? You help me put stuff into, proper channels in terms of, like, sometimes it ain't even about good and bad. It's about, does this resonate? Okay, does it not? We'll revisit it in, however long. And we've had moments where you played me something, I'm like, okay, this is tight, but it ain't hitting nothing. And then a year later, it's on a project or something like that. You know what I mean? Sure. And so I am curious about, has there been a moment in your journey that made you say, oh man, I am good at this, or,
That's an interesting question, because I'm not real sure. I still probably struggle with the phrase, am I good at this?
Yeah.
Right? Because really, when I think about it, when what is good, I mean, when you talk about art, it's so subjective. And like, what is good, what is bad? Like, what are you really trying to say when you make a statement? Like,
right.
I started off really just trying to, when first starting to, like, okay, I want to hear something. How can I make something that sounds like that? And how can I, execute specifically something that's in my head and make it come out right? And so it took a couple of years to really feel good about whatever it is I was doing from that standpoint, and that, okay, well, now how can I make something that doesn't come from something else? It comes from me.
Yeah.
And then just working and fine tuning. Okay, well, how can I try to find out how to do different things? And then you have the kind of proverbial, validation from other people. Is just like, oh, you let people hear it, and it's like, but you still don't want to hinge on whether or not I feel like I've done a good job, or whether or not somebody else likes it or not.
Right.
It really just, right. Am I getting to a point where I have something in my head that I can get out?
Yeah.
And let's see what happens, what makes it work, what does with it, right? And then it's, especially too, when coming from a purely, old school music production, trying to work with artists type things, there is some of the, right, you're trying to meet the need of a customer.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But even then, like, now knowing and understanding it, as looking at it truly as an art form, like, I might do things that I might have specifically for an artist. I might do things that might be specifically for a film, or it might be for a PSA, or it might just be something that sits on itself as its own piece of something, or it's part of a different project that has, like, and there's so many different ways to do it. So it's like, okay, what is really good, right? Or how we're good at, am I good at it? I mean, I can make something, I can do it, right? And it's because I know, because for me, I'm still learning. I'm still, even after all this time, still trying to figure things out, still understanding new things, and just having the appreciation for being a part of the process, and be able to work with people. So
didn't you make the scheming beat?
Yeah, I did.
You good? Hey, you feel me? Like, hey, it's funny, because sometimes you talk to people, and they give certain answers, what I would consider like the right answer, like the kind of politically correct.
Sure.
And you well spoken, but I know you. Personally, I call you when I need some insight, when I need to, chop it up, and, and you are this person. Everything you just said, you actually feel like, you were one of the first people to teach me success is A, relative.
It is.
Very relative, you know what I mean? And B is just completion of something.
Yeah.
So if you want to do a project,
just do it.
Just do the project.
Yeah.
And if it sells, if you blow up, great. But like, you was success because you did it and completed it.
Yeah. And I think that's really, in the art form, it's just the most, striking piece of it all is that when you think about art, it's just that starting with that blank canvas.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing there. and it's so really the real goal is not let me make this magnum opus or let me this is the greatest thing ever. It's really how do I go from something that looks like this blank sheet of paper to it not being blank, and then you just kind of take it from there and make stuff. And I think that's what can be restrictive from a creative perspective is that there's these expectations people have in their mind about what it should be, what the outcomes should be from it, what it should do, all of that. But it's really like, how do I get from nothing to something? And then from what I see there, something to something more or something different or how whatever is defined as something better. Yeah. You just start from there.
Bro, first of all, I'm just so grateful for the listeners right now, bro. Because I get to talk to you, fam. So I can call you, but they might not have a house that could just drop gems. You know what I'm saying? So this is really dope, and appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me. This why I call.
You good? Get that. Hey, okay. Answer your wives. Everybody out there, when the missus calls, stop and answer. Oh, I was saying I'm grateful to have you. You know, and I think that's good. I need to put like a little gym counter at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the gym right there. The first one is get started. You know what I mean? Like so much of success is just making sure that this blank paper doesn't stay blank. It don't even matter what it ends up being. You know, start the process. Yeah. Which for me, that's interesting and that's hitting home because I had a buddy of mine ask me yesterday, how's music going? And I said, probably not good. And, you know, you look and I'm doing interviews and I got my festival coming up and all of these things are happening. And so on one hand, it's like, man, I'm grateful and it's beautiful. It's going really well. On the other hand, I haven't been creating space to make sure that this paper don't stay blank. You know what I mean? And so success for me, it don't even matter if I drop nothing. Success for me is making sure that for 30 minutes every day, I'm at least sitting down listening to something. I'm at least writing something. I'm at least reaching out to you saying like, what's inspiring you? But if you aren't even creating the space for something to go forth, then it's gonna stay blank.
Yeah. Especially when we've talked about time boxing and, you know, those things that you kind of have to do when we're not, the vast majority of creators are not full-time creators and this is all that they do. Right. And so that's still kind of a bit of a small population, but for the rest of us, and how do you carve out just a little bit of time, right? And, you know, because we've talked about this, and you know, and you kind of understand my process. When I have time, I have to know exactly what I'm going to do with it so I can go, so it actually gets done.
I mean, you break it down to the minute. Like you be down to the 5 minutes, I'm going to do this, to the, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Whatever it is that I have, and that's it. But you have to do that in order to find a way to do it, right? Because when you think about success, comparison of success to failure, the only way that you really fail is if you just do nothing, right? And success is, you know, it's just the opposite. Just do something. And when you think about it in that terms, it really changes your perspective and things on how you know, okay, is this a good day or have I gotten something? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
You once told me, I wonder if you remember this, that space is infinitely small as it is large.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
What does that even mean? Like, you know, I was still thinking about that. And I even drop it on other people like, excuse me, I bet you didn't know space is, you know what I'm saying? So explain that to the listeners.
It's really the perspective you take on the things that you're a part of and what you're doing. And sometimes you can be overwhelmed but because something seems so insurmountable. But either way it goes, because even if it was smaller, right? This understanding the fine tooth, the minute things of something can also take you all types of ways and different depths, and so you kind of have to be relative within yourself. Like don't ever think something's either too big or too small for you. I mean, it's what it is, and it's going to be what you make it. And it's how, you know, really thinking about how you define yourself within those spaces that you're in, no matter how big or how small you think they are, right? Because, you know, it can be, you think this is big, oh, sure, it can be bigger, right? You think this is small, what? Hold on now, it can be, it can be smaller. And you start comparing that and looking at, you know, because it's about perspective, and then hopefully that perspective gets you to the point of appreciating the spaces that you're in as well too, right? Because at least for me, that's how it's been, right? And I've, it's just I have a an interest in things that seem to be that are grandiose and huge, but that doesn't negate the value and what's awesome when the things that are just simple and small and that we sometimes take it for granted.
How do you get past the paralysis of analysis? We're going. I don't know how much time we got, bro. We get into the meat, like, bro. Okay. Like, if in your experience, you know what I mean. Right now, I feel like is the golden age of being a creator and the most challenging time to be a creator at the same time.
Yeah, paralysis by analysis means I am stuck because I am thinking about all of the things, and that stuckness prevents me. And it's a little bit related to what we talked about. I'm stuck, and I keep thinking through all of these different things, and you've got to unstick yourself by coming out of all of the stuff, the here,
right.
And thinking at a little bit higher level on what it is that you're trying to do, trying to accomplish. Who am I? What am I trying to do? How do I want to do it? Right? And what's the plan for me to get there? And you spend a little bit of time thinking about what that plan is.
Can we sit there for a second?
Yeah.
And bro, you also have, when I say perspective, that, you know what I mean? Like, you have the ability to say, okay, what are you actually trying to do? Because you told me when I was hobbying with music, toying with it, like, you need to decide if you're going to make this a hobby or if you're going to make this career, because it's different steps. If you just want to have a good time with it, then cool, go whenever you want, But if you want to make this a job, you got to treat it like a job. You got to clock in when you don't want to go in. You got to turn down some of those things because you're working, but it's risk.
True.
And so my question to you is, how important is setting goals and having that target in your head, whether that's I want to release one album, whether that's I want to do my own show, I want to win a Grammy. Like, how important is that? And then once you have that goal, break down for me what you would consider some of those steps or some of those, just real practical, tangible application for somebody.
Sure. Yeah. So to your point, it really truly is important to have goals in front of you, and sometimes that scares people because there's the fear of losing out, fear of failure, fear of not accomplishing it. But when you're the one that's setting that goal, and then you allow yourself to position yourself to be successful, and you think about those goals in the simplest of terms as it possibly can be, in order for you to say, yep, this is what I'm going to actually go and get done. And because back to your previous question, kind of what it's really on is that paralysis by analysis. I'm thinking, you don't overthink what you're trying to get done. Pull yourself a little bit out of it. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? What does that look like in the simplest of forms, right? Don't think it has to be your greatest work right out the gate, or it has to be all these different things. What is it I'm trying to do, right? So, because what we talked about it before, right? I want to be a recording artist. Okay, what does that mean, right? What is a recording artist? Well, they record music. Okay, so really you're saying you want to record music. Okay, so all right, what kind of music do you want to record? Yep, this is the space, this is the lane I'm in. Okay. All right, start, but have you ever done a song? Maybe you've done a song before or not. Like, okay, that's fine too.
All right.
Don't worry about a song. Just maybe I just write eight bars, or it's a part of something, or and then you start there with what's realistic and allow yourself to meet yourself where you are.
Right.
For whatever it is you want to do. I said I wanted to, years ago, I said I want to be a producer. I want to make beats. And I was like, okay. And I got caught up in this, like, what about this and software and DAWs and controllers? And, I don't have space. And what about it's like, nope, just make something.
Yeah.
And even if it's just old school, just beating up on a tabletop, right? Guess what? You made something.
That's something,
right?
Yeah.
And you start with the simplest of things, and you just try things out. Was this person not like this? Yep, that's cool, but maybe I need something different. And you start there, but just having something, you cannot get better at anything unless you measure it, right? And the goals become what that measure is. But you can make it. Sometimes the goal could be to do something as opposed to not. So if you did it, guess what? You accomplished your goal, and you be realistic with yourself on what that is and how you formulate that within it. And that's how you prevent the paralysis. Is that I have to have somewhere I need to go and something I need to do. But I want to make sure that it's something that I can succeed at, and it's something within reach. And I start there because that's the start. You do something, and then after that, guess what? You can do something more.
Yeah. Ding. That's a legit. You know what I'm saying? That's a gym counter, man. So it's interesting. Our paths crossed. I would consider at a pivotal moment for both of us. You know, for you had already been in a creative space, working with artists locally, regionally, nationally. You know, doing your thing, sure. and correct me if I'm wrong. Almost getting jaded to the process of like, man, is this fulfilling? Am I doing something that's meaningful? You know, and then and almost to some degree considering what moving forward in the creative space looked like as far as producing music and so on and so forth. And I was in the opposite space of feeling like I had been running from a calling and not sharing my gift with the world and sitting on my gift and saying I don't never want to do this, to realizing like, oh wait, it's not a matter of if I need to do this or not. It's am I going to be obedient and walk in the calling that was, you know, given to me. And so I forgot who made the initial connection. I don't remember if it was Jasper or who I got your number from initially. But anyways, we get connected and we meet. And I remember you telling me, for me to engage in something right now, it needed to be meaningful, it needed to be purposeful, and it needs to feel aligned, is what you were telling me. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, cool. You know, and so you feel me? Because I didn't know everything I knew now. I didn't know that you had worked with tons of different artists and had traveled and done all of these different things. And so it was almost like a beautiful naivety on my end, because I'm just like, it's my first rodeo, but it's not yours. You know what I mean? And so I think, man, we just met at this time when you also modeled for me what it looked like to get something down. I mean, I'm pulling up on you when you are in mid-work mode. You know what I'm saying? You got the family going, you got the job going, you got everything, and you like, nah, we got this 30 minutes, we got this 1 hour, let's maximize it. You know, we leave with a song, or maybe not a song, but knowing how we want to start this first 10 seconds of the song, you know what I mean? And so anyways, bro, I'm just telling you, that's a core memory. I look at myself now and some of the opportunities that I've been afforded, you know, to God be the glory, and some of the stages that I've been on. I started with some of those early sessions of just knowing, you know, how to prioritize. I'm curious from your perspective, when you think back at those moments, you know, for you, for me, and you see where we are now in our individual journeys and collectively, you know what I'm saying, as a brotherhood, like, what's some themes that either feel like through lines or some stuff that comes to mind just when you think about then versus now?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Well, first off, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, man, God's time is perfect timing every single time. And us being connected in those moments that we were in, you know, you think back circa 2016, you know, like so it's been that long, right?
Almost a decade.
Yeah, which is, you know, but it feels like it flies by. But you know, both of us, the commonality, although we may have been in different phases, is just the commonality is just a certain level of openness to be able to work with someone that you hadn't worked with before, and really just allow the opportunity for whatever it might be. It might be, right? Just that we as human beings, a lot of times we like to have a lot of control and a lot of structure, and you get fixated on certain things. But
sure.
Really just allowing room and space to just let whatever happen, because that's what it is. I mean, whatever happened was going to happen. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. It's totally going to be something, or it's going to be nothing.
Yeah.
But you know that going in, and you just be okay with however this lands, and to be able to give your best effort within that. That's. I think we were both in a space where we were willing to do that, and just I think we both kind of. Maybe I'm not real sure, because I guess I've never asked what your expectations were initially going in and thinking about what would happen. I know for me, it's just like, first meeting you, I'm like, man, this guy, I know there's something there, but maybe he's going to do something with it. Maybe he's not. But I'm like,
oh, wow.
Well, let's see. Right.
I never thought about that from your perspective.
Yeah. Because that's, I wanted you to do something, and I wanted something to come about, but it could have easily been like, you didn't like my sound, or I didn't, there are so many other things. And I think that's the other thing too, that kind of hinders people, is that, what if it doesn't work out? What if they don't like what I do? And it's okay. But that still shouldn't stop you from, because you'll never know.
Right.
Unless you just and that's where that's where we got it, right? You think about, the collection between you, me, and Corey. Shout out Corey. Right?
Ooh, shout out that boy Corey Nelson.
Yeah, and then that's just right. Just that all kind of centered around what is it we need to make sure that it happens, and it's really came out of the most essential pieces of going from nothing to something. And so we landed. And so it's this. That's kind of how I think about. Way that point then, but obviously in hindsight, to be able to be a part of something that speaking for myself here, I'd just be very proud to be involved in and engaged in, and then to see the resonation now, even after that much time, how it resonates with people and be able to connect with people, and it's just, and I think that's a product of the precipice of just being okay with. Being who you are and connected with people and seeing what happens and goes from there. And I think that's the beauty of most art. It's just, that there's a little bit of fear that you have to overcome. And just getting over that and allowing it to happen. And it's just, it's a great place to be.
Man, thank you. That was very well said. That album changed my life. And I think in multiple ways. And the first way was, it was just doing something. Now you got to think, bro. I've had people since I was like 15 tell me to make something and put it out. And so I would mess around with SoundCloud here and there and send some songs to my friends. I just had a buddy, shout out to Cam in Houston. He sent me a song that I did some years ago. And I'm like, hey, this is tough, bro. Like, send me all the other ones that you said, no, I'll be forgetting, because at this point we churned out so much. But, when I made that, it showed me put something out, and now you can feel success in the fact that something is complete. To your point, I don't know how people was gonna respond to it, but now, you fast forward, it's almost been 10 years since this thing has come out, and people are, riding to it daily, and getting married to some of these songs, and in the gym to some of these songs, and it started with us just believing and doing something.
Yeah.
And there is a purity of that I know I personally want to get back to, about just like, man, just make the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you do something with it, great. If people love it, great. If not, that's cool too. But just make the thing that's in you. Question. So when you think about how many different hats you wear, you got the writer, and then you got the producer, and then the director, and actor at times, bro, it's a lot. Shout out to Mike Day. Colbert just came out, All Students Can Learn. Beautiful film. And I went to the screening to see it, and in the first 3 seconds I looked down at you and I said, you scored this, didn't you? And you was like, yeah, I heard it. And so this is a 2-part question. How do you craft your own lane? Your own, in your case, it would be a sound. There is a third house sound. And if like people can pick up on that. How do you find your voice? How do you find your sound? How do you find your niche, so to speak? That's my first question.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes experimentation, right? I mean, you kind of to create what that is for you. You kind of actively have to be in it and doing those things, you have to be careful, and you balance that with the care you take with being inspired by something without unknowingly recreating something else. And so kind of it starts there, but over time, at least for me, and especially with working with artists, right? Of all kinds, right? Working with creatives is, getting an understanding of who that person is, what drives them, but then also what's trying to happen, what's the emotion that what do you want people to feel, right? What do you want people to come away with and have a sense of in a certain moment, in a certain time. And then for you internally, you think about what motivates you and what inspires you in those and help that becomes what creates what something sounds like, right? If I know that there are certain things that are go-tos for me, if I know there's a sense of happiness or success or something like that, or if there's sadness or despair or a troublesome situation or being curious or questioning, like, and it's just, you kind of, okay, what does that sound like to me? And then how do you get to the point of knowing what that is? And some of it is a straight line, and some of it kind of just weaves to a certain place. But however you go, you have to be okay. And then here's the other thing too, is that I can have something in my mind, I think it sounds one way, but once I actually get into the point of trying to execute it, it's not what
it's almost it's like night and day.
And it's okay if that's it. It's okay with, this is what I come away, I think, I didn't think that's how I was going to go, but that's what it became. And then being okay with knowing that some of it is what's here, and then some of it is the path you take to get to what's here. Being okay with if that taking a twist or a turn, or it's being something that you didn't expect, and being able to relish in that too as well, too, can have the enjoyment of, I think I know what it is, but I don't, and enjoying that path that you go down to be able to get there. And then for me, I think about the inspiration from, music that I grew up on. I think about inspiration from movies that I grew up watching. I think about inspiration from, churches, all the churches that I've been a part of, and the path that I've taken, and the things that I hear. There's been instances where I pull out my phone and record random sounds in a park, and that becomes a part of what motivates you, or you feel like that's what the reflection is, and it's a massive kind of consistent collection of things that you've taken in before, but also what you continue to soak in as well, to be able to craft what your particular sound is, and then once you get to that point, being okay that it might not be what you thought it was going to be, but also just being okay with whatever it is. In the sense of don't let some internal expectation that you haven't met hold you up from getting the true expectation of again going from something.
That's what man, well said. I think everything you say pretty well said. Like, there ain't never been a time I'm like, what this brother talking about? Like, you got some experience, bro. I'm curious, from your perspective, what's more challenging, executive producing an artist album or scoring a film?
You said what's more challenging?
Yeah, like what, and you can look at that from, both ways. Like what comes more natural, given, your background with film and, father being a movie buff, like your love for movies, and then same with the music thing. Growing up, kind of hearing sound, I would say, as the backdrop for a lot of your life. What feels more intuitive, and which one is more challenging?
So they both present different types of challenges in different ways. When you think about working with an artist and going through, a full album, right? Like, there's so many intricacies and things that can change. It's kind of an evolving piece of work.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to go in it, because you involve, writing changes and features, and, how is this part of a larger collective, visually speaking? How do you throw that in there? And there's some visions that are there, right? And that can be those has the challenges because it can be a moving target.
Sure.
When you get to a film, like usually when I score a film, it's already done, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just and it's static, but then it becomes there's challenge in noise, and then there's challenge in silence, right? But there are two different types of challenges that you have to navigate different ways, right? And so it's is one more difficult than the other? It just depends on how much that it becomes a target you're trying to hit. But both of them have their own sets of challenges. Because like you score a movie and like you're just watching it with nothing, no sound, and it's okay. I have to fill in the blank on what's there, right? But as opposed to there being, but there's some similarities too to think about it, because there's tempo, and then there's pace, and then there's emotion, right, in both mediums. Because even within a film, you might not necessarily feel it, how the tempo of something. Right? Sure. All right. Like there's a beat per minute within dialogue of a scene of a film, like it would be a song. It's just how you get there is a bit different. So, but it's but they're both challenges, both rewarding to see kind of the end product, and just know and understanding. And, working with artists is a little bit more collaborative in nature, because, but you're kind of on an island with a film. And so those are things and so for me, I usually try to shift in between the two to kind of keep my mind flexed out. Yep. Like where do I need to take a break from one thing to do another, to make sure that, you keep the gears moving and your mind's firing off where it needs to be.
I love it, bro. Give me your number one creator commandment. I usually do 5, but you've given so many gems this up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's 5 of them in there if they really listening. But like, when I say creative commandment, I mean, what's the number one thing for a person that wants to start to produce, start writing film, acting, cooking, whatever it is? For the person that wants to get started, what's the number one thing that you're like, you must do this?
Yeah, man, you got to keep it simple for yourself and don't overthink it. In the simplest of terms, right? Because we've had this conversation before.
We have it.
In the simplest of terms, state what it is that you want to do, because the more simple it is, you remove the complexity, and you also remove what seems to be a hindrance of a roadblock to get there. If you don't have to make the line squiggly, if you can make it a straight line, make it as straight of a line as what you want it to be. Where's you trying to get to? Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. And just allow yourself the space to, don't feel like there's messing up or there's failure. Just know that I want to do it. Make the goal of just doing it and going there, and then you just take it from there. And that's really that's the easiest thing to go off of. It's just keep it simple for yourself. Don't overthink it, and be okay with the journey. And be okay if it doesn't sound like the way you think it is, or what it looks like the way you want it to be. Yeah, just roll with it.
What else you got, bro? Where can we follow you? Like, bro, this is great. Like, where can we follow you? Where can we keep up with you? Like, where? Give us a.
Yeah. So on social media, Third House, PROD, everywhere. We with several things going on, I guess, right now. Yeah. It's kind of, I have to kind of box it. So if we talk music. We've talked a little bit of scoring. So shout out Mike Day. We just did the score for his web series that's just in episode 3. I think it's up through to episode 3.
Now let's go.
His YouTube channel. So did the score for that. You talk, all students can learn, and did the score for that as well too. Music wise, let's see. Released right now one project with shout out King Pimpin' Vintage.
Shout out King, man. That's a King, man.
Vintage Soul is out now as well too. Man, I'm going through the anthology of it, and then other things in the work too. Things that just excited for. Big shout out to Avi and Aaliyah, killing it right now. Got some work going with her as well too. So excited to see all that come to fruition.
Shout out to Avian, man. Yeah, she is a beautiful representation of artists and music.
Doing it. So A couple of, and we talked about film too. We didn't really delve into it too, but completed my first couple of short films. Finishing up festival circuits for both of those as well too. So
congrats.
So that's pretty cool. So yeah, just staying busy. Second original stage play premiering at my church, St. James Baptist in Fayetteville, December 14th. So working towards that, getting that going too. So yeah, all good stuff, man. No complaints. Blessed, better not deserve.
Yeah, man. Well, look, I appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, and all good.
Look forward to having you again.
Man, yeah, anytime, man. This is cool right here. Podcastvideos.com, man. It's a place to be, man.
Thank you, brother.
So, man.